Shankara Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Shankara Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radharamana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Radharamana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radharamana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Radharamana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Shankara Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Shankara Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Umaramana Shiva Shankara Jaya Jaya Umaramana Shiva Shankara Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radharamana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Radharamana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Shankara Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Shankara Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Umaramana Shiva Shankara Jaya Jaya Umaramana Shiva Shankara Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radharamana Hari Govinda 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 Jaya Jaya
My dear friends, a very, very heartfelt welcome to you. Please know your presence is a delightful blessing to us here. And so I'm going to start by ringing that bell. And I always jokingly say, when I do this, you're glued to your seats, except when you want to go to the sanctuary of release. The restroom is right here, straight there. Okay, my friends, here we go. And because you're glued to the seats, we have some traditional insights we express. And the first one is, Sally Jo, what is the first one?
We're honoring our ancestors and our first peoples, and I'm going to ask Chris to help us with that. this morning. Thank you, Chris.
Good morning, brothers and sisters, Interfaith Communitarians all. Thank you for coming to be with us this Sunday and to watch and share in cyberspace also. Excuse me. As I was sitting thinking, one thing I thought about and had somewhat look forward to every year is the Ides of March today. Today is a day that's not necessarily I'm going to, I guess I'm mentioning it, but in all the stories that we've heard, Julius Caesar, the tyrant, died this day. I do not wish to acknowledge him too much. I have no poetry or great sayings of Caesar, the first person who took Rome from a nice republic to totalitarianism. But I would like to remember our fine ancestors, those folks who've taken us to places that are of a greater good. And let us think of those people today. Let us think of those people who are either related to us or that we've read about, that we've talked to, that actually help us to improve ourselves, to raise ourselves up. So let's think of those people as our ancestors today. Briefly, just gather them in our hearts. And I'd also like to think of this as a continuum, think of us as the ancestors of those who come after us, again, possibly related by blood or close association, or maybe through the more not so, just a contact in a store or some other way. Let us think of those people as our descendants and hold those folks in our hearts today also. Okay, so the other thing that Sally Jo has asked me to do is to honor the native folks who've helped this land to be nurtured, helped in sacrifice on this land. I'd like to honor those folks and remember that their land was never conquered, it was never truly ceded to us, and that we honor their continued struggle of generations ago and still today. Our group, as a effort to help balance that equation, makes offering to realrentduwamish.org, and there's a fine institution on Marginal Way right near Harbor Island known as the Longhouse that I always recommend folks visit. And I'd like to close this portion with a short prayer. If we can gather all of our joys and sorrows above and beyond our ancestors and descendants, and let's think of those things, gather those in our hearts. If you want to join me, you can. If you want to just observe, that's also totally fine. But please take a deep breath and gather those joys and sorrows. We're going to offer that up to Creator. I'm going to reach up and offer my hand, and hopefully Creator will then put a gift in my hand that I can then return to my heart. And I hope you join. Deep breath. And together, as we lift our hand up, we'll say, Aho. Oh. Blessed be. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And I'm going to bring our dear friend and musician Isla Ross back to the front. And she's going to play us a chant for the Divine Feminine this morning. And there are many beautiful chants written that honor the Divine Feminine. And we do that every Sunday as well, with either poetry or reading or song or dance or whatever inspires us. So Isla will tell us what her chant will be today. Thank you, Isla.
I thought I'd just read you briefly about the goddess Jagadambe, because I do a lot of chanting to this goddess, also known as Adi Shakti, the first mother. And Amba is the form of the first mother, who is a peaceful creator, the divine mother who initiates the next cycle of life. Jagadamba is the world mother, who may manifest in various forms. She embodies devotion, beauty, abundance, nourishment. Jagadamba is ultimately formless, although she possesses all of the forces of light, life, time, and space. So Ambe, the creative power. Jagad is world. Jagadambe, mother of the world. And Bhavani, the one who gives all things existence. And you're very welcome to chant along. Ambe Bhavani Jaya Jagadambe 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 Ambe Bhavani
Thank you so much, Sister Isla. Let's go like this to Sister Isla. Thank you for all your offerings over the decades here at ICS. So once again, my dear friends, a very, very heartfelt welcome to you. And I repeat again, your presence is truly a blessing. Let's do a few ohms, deep breath. Couple more times. One last time. Let's do a chant, knowing that when we praise God, thank God, God doesn't become holy, we become holy. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Just the beloved women, please. Just the beloved men. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Beloved family. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Once quietly. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Twice aloud. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. And becoming very still and being open to what the mystics call experiencing the glow of presence. The glow of presence. Thank you, my friends. So today the topic is Spirit of the Warrior, and there's nothing new I'm going to say to you. It's just a question of us reflecting what you have heard here again and again, because this is a topic that has been talked about over the decades many, many times. And by the way, you know that when I talk to pastors, they say every pastor over a lifetime has only 4 or 5 sermons. These are all different tangential expressions of that. So this is another one, a repetition of what we have already talked about. So what is a primary function of the spiritual warrior? It is to take action, meaningful action, what Buddhists call right effort, right action. You know the wonderful words of the Buddha, who said, no matter how many holy words you speak, holy words you read in the holy books, he says, what use is it if you don't act upon them? Just be with that. What use is it if I don't act upon them? Social justice issues, planetary degradation, problems in my family, in my community, in my nation. Which is why Prophet Muhammad, he said, when you have these issues come up in your family, in your community, in your nation, use your hands, meaning get engaged. Then he said, if you cannot do that, use your mouth. Speak out against the oppression, the injustice. If you cannot do that, be engaged in prayers. Pray from your heart. But get involved. Just be with that. Ask yourself, in my life, in my family, in my community, in my thoughts, and particularly in my words, my speech, and my behavior, am I taking the right action? Am I, as metaphorically the Prophet said, use your hands, meaning get engaged? Just reflect on that, please. And start with your own family. Okay, moving on. The next point is, if I take the right action, the Buddha would say, and all the other great masters would say, then you have to deepen what is called your being. In Tao Te Ching, in Dhammapada, the different sacred books, they say that action follows being. Meaning, as you were saying in the program last night, yesterday afternoon, you cannot solve a problem at the level of the problem. You've got to rise above it. Become a more developed, complete, evolved human being. That's the key. In fact, the book you're reading right now, Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet, on page 97, there's a wonderful statement that says, if you really want to serve humanity, make a difference to your planet, you simply have to do spiritual practices. There's no way out. Become a more developed, complete human being. Which is why I repeat again the wonderful saying of this modern day example of Gus Spaeth, who was the scientific advisor to President Carter, who said that, you know, and you've heard this many times, that the biggest environmental problems, he said, for 30 years I've realized the biggest environmental problems are loss of biodiversity, climate change, ecosystem collapse. And with good science, we could take care of it. And now I've realized the biggest environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy, indifference. I know I've said this many times, you've heard this many times, but Brother Jamal, do you take it to heart? Am I changing my lifestyle? Am I reducing my carbon footprint? You know, the statistics in America, less than 5% of population, it consumes 30% of the world's resources. That's a big problem. Which is why Gandhi said, live simply, so others may simply live. So I asked myself, am I making those actions? Am I taking action? Because of planetary degradation, that's the biggest problem. So the key is, we've got to become, I have to become a more developed human being. I've got to have some spiritual practices to evolve in the fullness of who I am, which means I have to do what I always call, not me, but the sages call the inner inconvenient work. So let me repeat to you the story of the Rabia that you've heard many times in a presentation just now. I mentioned that, so it's fresh in my mind, that 8th, 9th century female beloved sage Rabia, who really wanted to impart this particular teaching without success. So one day, if you remember, in the evening, in those days in Iraq, 8th, 9th century, that pillars of light, that was the electricity, you might say, and she's looking for something there. The entire village joins in saying, what have you lost? She said, I've lost my key. So they join the search, but they cannot find the key. So after some time, they ask, dear Rabia, can you kind of tell us whereabouts you might have dropped the key so we can better focus the search? And what does Rabia say? Actually, I didn't lose it here. I lost it miles away in my house over there. They said, then why are you looking for it here? She said, it's simple. My house there has no light at all, but there's so much light out here. So they laugh. She says, you've laughed, which tells me you're intelligent people. But now you tell me, when you have lost your peace of mind inside of you, your calmness inside of you, you've lost your peace of mind because of a failed relationship out there, or some change of circumstances, financial, emotional, whatever. Did you lose it out there? Of course you did, but that's only one part of it. Where you have really lost it is in here, inside of you. But of course, it's much more dim to look inside here. It's much more inconvenient to look inside you. But that's where you really lost it. And that struck a chord. Just be with that. Am I looking for things in the right direction? And so I have to do the inner inconvenient work. So at the risk of repetition again, let me again repeat what the Buddha said. What was the Buddha's last words as he was dying? His last words were, be a lamp unto yourself. Work out your salvation with diligence. That's the key. One of the major keys. Again, Prophet Muhammad said, know thyself and you shall know thy sustainer. He also said, die before you die, meaning die to all that is false within you before you die a physical death. You see, what you see here, I see in you, we have our personality. What is personality? The Buddha says nothing more than a bundle of conditioned reactions to your life circumstances. Nothing more than a bundle of conditioned reactions to life circumstances. That's me, but I'm more than that. I'm also my divine spark, my Christ nature, Buddha nature, Elohim nature, Allah nature, Krishna nature. And my work is, if I quote Rumi, he says, marry your soul, meaning bring your personality closer and closer to your soul, to the real you. I hope some of you know this one by heart, by Rumi. You are a ruby in the midst of granite. How long will you continue to deceive us? For we can see the look in your eyes. So please return to the root of the root of the root of your real self. And how do you do that? Many ways. One is compassionate self-witnessing. Mind those two words, compassionate self-witnessing. Know thyself. Be a lamp unto yourself. And discover all those foibles, but that's the foibles of the ego within you. But if you compassionately shine the light of awareness, it begins to diminish it. My pride, my greed, my jealousy, my unrestrained anger. So now, I'm going to ask you, shine the light of compassionate awareness on yourself in a laughing way, humorous way. Look at the foibles of your ego. That's the first and most important step in diminishing it. And it's okay that you are that which you think you are. It's the life circumstances. We can go beyond that. Like Carl Jung said, will you once in your life have the courage and the grace to kiss the demons and dragons within you? That is how they turn into a prince or princess. Okay, moving on to now, what are your divine qualities within you? Your patience, your generosity, your graciousness. Give yourself credit for that. Patience in adversity. The Quran says, develop that, cultivate that, particularly patience in adversity. The patience shown by the rose to the thorn is what keeps it fragrant. The patience shown by the moon to the dark night is what keeps it radiant. Generosity, graciousness. What are some divine qualities you have within you? It's a gift, but I want it to flourish, shine the light of awareness that becomes like a sun growing the plant because of the rays of the sun. Your awareness. That is you also. Allow it to flourish. And just be grateful for that. And make a prayer. May this flourish, grow in me. My compassion, my love, my generosity, my graciousness, my patience. Thank you, God. Favor upon favor have you bestowed upon this handful of dust. Thank you. Okay, next topic about self-awareness is to be aware of one's suffering. See, all the holy books say that it is inevitable that we will suffer because it's a world of opposites. High is defined by low, long by short. There are joys and there are sorrows. Can I do some practices where I am present with my suffering? The key insight is don't run towards suffering, just don't run away from it. That's the key. Don't run away from it. And little by little, go through it, through spiritual practices. It's like going through a deep, dark forest. Half the time you're going inside the forest, but the other half, as you continue, you're coming out of it. That's the metaphor. And some of you have taken the class about that book, The Book of Joy, by Desmond Tutu Dalai Lama. And the main point, one of the main thrusts of that book is the way you reframe your suffering, the way you respond to your suffering and reframe it is what sculpts your character and, most importantly, sculpts the destiny of your life. Again, don't run towards pain and suffering, just don't run away from it. What is some technique you can use to little by little, as Carl Jung says, kiss it, embrace it, and that'll transform it. My anger will turn into a greater inner vigor, my fear into greater mindfulness, my sadness into greater empathy. But reframe it by being present with it. So my question to you is, to myself, is how do I deal with my suffering? Do I have some techniques, some sacred practices? Do I have community to help me? We need all of that. But once transformed, it makes me a more complete, developed, evolved human being. That's the message of the masters, of the teachers. Okay, next one is, the sages say, work in the visible and the invisible world also. Prayers, meditation. Prayers of two types. One is praising God, thanking God. God doesn't become holy, we become holy. Supplications, oh God, please, 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 God. Please may this happen. May this person heal. May I heal. And then the key is to do it with increased necessity, with passion. Oh God, says Rumi, I shall cry to thee and cry to thee and cry to thee until the milk of thy loving kindness boils over. I shall cry to thee and cry to thee and cry to thee until the milk of thy loving kindness boils over. Increased necessity. Rumi says, have you not noticed that only when a baby is born does the mother's chest become filled with milk? There's increased necessity. And the Quran says, if you really want prayers to have deep impact, of course, pray as often as you can, any time of the day or night, but prayers particularly early morning or late at night. The Quran says, when people are asleep, the veils are very thin between visible and invisible world. And the words of the Quran are, at that time, early hours of the morning, impressions are the strongest and the words most eloquent. Which is why I'm going to repeat the words of Rumi, who when he read this verse in the Quran, he breaks into an utterance. No one knows what makes the soul wake up so happy. No one knows what makes the soul wake up so happy. Just maybe a dawn breeze has blown away the veil from the face of God. No one knows what makes a soul wake up so happy. Just maybe a dawn breeze has blown away the veil from the face of God. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep, says Rumi. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell. Okay, next one is silence. This book we are reading repeats again and again and again the value, the beauty, the majesty of, in any form you want to practice silence. Dalai Lama did it for 6 hours a day. That's too much for me. The Buddha did it for 3 hours a day. Even that might be too much for me. But the Buddha said, the Buddha was quite insistent when he was there. He said, if you really want to become enlightened, you have, and he was insistent, you have to practice silence in some form. So if I may repeat again those words of Rumi, which have been ingrained in me, silence is not the absence of sound, it is the absence of the little self. Silence is the language of God, everything else is a poor translation. In silence, the branches of your intelligence grows new leaves. In silence, the branches of your intelligence grows new leaves. So ask yourself now, am I practicing silence? And don't be hard on yourself, you know. You can do it just for 3 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, but regularly. That's the key. Okay, next topic is for activists, spiritual warrior, withdrawal and return. Take some time off. You know, several books I have read, they say even the Buddha, who was so actively involved in every aspect of his community, besides meditating 3 hours every day, he would take 3 months off just to rest in the rainy season. In the rainy season, he would take 3 months off. I love the metaphor of Rumi, which I repeat again and again. He says, to an activist, he says, if you're too involved in activism, being a spiritual, I don't know those exact words, but if you're too much involved in being a spiritual warrior, just continuously all the time, overdoing it, you're like a fish out of water, thrashing and quivering on the banks. But from time to time, you need to dive into those oceans of silence, take rest, so you become resuscitated. I remember when it just struck me now, when I was in my early 20s, I was working in Paris for 9 months. And I remember I was so surprised that they said, take a vacation. I said, no, I'd be happy to keep on working. No, it's the law. I was so surprised. It's the law in France. You have to take a vacation. And if you don't, they think you're stealing something from the company. But you've got to take a vacation because it's the law, because they know that this is how you get resuscitated, revived. You'll become more productive when you come back. So are you taking that, what is called withdrawal and return? So I want to add just one more aspect to this, the aspect in the withdrawal to be creative in your recreation. Time to read poetry, play music, something creative. What would you be doing? I don't know. What is something creative you could do in the withdrawal? What would you do, Sally Jo?
Listening to music and dancing.
Dancing, wonderful. Boogie woogie for God, as I always say. That's right. Dancing. Anybody else? What would you do to give rest to your soul? Yes.
Bake cookies.
Bake cookies. How wonderful. Bake cookies. Oh, that's something so creative and of service to your beloved husband and your neighbors, everybody else.
Downhill snow skiing.
Snow skiing. Okay, wonderful. Dancing. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
dancing.
Dancing. Dancing is of universal peace. Wonderful. And the dancing that you do. So anything creative. You know, for me, I think I mentioned here last time, when I was in Bangladesh, in those days, East Pakistan, a very young person, I went to a university I think I was about 13, 14. I saw these students on the trees, and they were just whistling. They said they feel so wonderful when they just get on the trees and just whistle. That brings them so much joy. And from that, I found that I myself am whistling all the time, actually, unconsciously. It makes me happy. I read the other day that if you hum from time to time, this brings happiness. Just humming, whistling. So for me, I'm constantly whistling in my spare time. I'm listening to music. And those same students, they told me, they sometimes camp. They go all, several people on top of a small hill. They have the sleeping bags. At nighttime, they just look at the stars. Just looking, gazing at the stars. They say, it's so crazy. We're all horizontal. We don't look at the sky. When we sleep, there's a wall to separate us from the cosmos. But if you just look at the stars, it'll fill you with wonder and awe and joy. So ask yourself, dancing, baking, cooking, so many things you mentioned here. What else could you be doing to really nurture your soul? We need that. Okay, a word of warning for the activists, the books say, please be careful of not overdoing anything. I know that is for me very real, not to overdo. In fact, in Taoism, that's one of the main points of that book, Tao Te Ching, that the biggest problems human beings have is they don't know when to stop. So I don't know what you're laughing about, but knowing when to stop is a tremendous art. Tremendous art. So remember the same metaphors in the Tao Te Ching. You have a bow, you stretch the arrow, you stretch it further, it'll go further and further the arrow, but if you keep on stretching, it'll break. Sharpen the knife, it'll become sharper, but then it blunts and breaks. If I'm overly ambitious, I'm on my toes trying to outshine the other, I'll stumble and fall. If you criticize a person too much, you begin to criticize the grand artist who made that person. Or you can overpraise someone. Prophet Muhammad has always told people, please, please, don't keep praising me. I'm just a human being. Don't overdo your praise. So ask yourself, and I love that metaphor also from Zen Buddhism. Sally just says she doesn't like it, where you draw a snake, but you overdo it by putting small legs on it like caterpillars. You've overdone it. Okay, so ask yourself now, in my life, in what areas, in what ways am I overdoing something? In my thoughts, in my anxiety, regret of the past, anxiety about the future, in my speech, in my behavior, in my actions. Spend a few more seconds thinking about it. Am I overdoing something? Only you know. Okay, next point. Can I be present? If I'm not present, I'm not a real spiritual warrior because I am losing my vitality. Why? Because I am stuck in a regret of the past or stuck in an anxiety about the future. I'm not being present. I'm overdoing it. That's why I love that wonderful insight. When sitting, sit. When walking, walk. Above all, don't wobble. Or Thich Nhat Hanh, who says in the book, I don't think it's the book, but his famous saying is, if you're not present in the present moment, Brother Jamal, if you're not present in the present moment, you are missing an appointment with life. And that is a serious matter, he says. If you're not present with the present moment, You are missing an appointment with life, and that is a serious matter. But don't be too hard on that. Don't be overly determined to be absolutely present. You see, constipated about it. That won't work either. The Buddha says it's like holding a bird in your hand. If the grip is too tight, the bird dies. If it's too loose, it flies away. So ask yourself, am I present? For me, that means it's a very deep work. I continuously work on myself to really listen, to truly listen, and not formulate my answer as the other person is talking. Which is why I love the metaphor by Rumi. What is listening? He says, metaphorically, listening is putting your head on the person's chest and sinking into the answer. Metaphorically, putting your head on the person's chest and sinking into the answer. That's real listening. So just ask yourself, am I present in my life? What are some techniques I can use to be really present? Okay, next one. A spiritual warrior is always of service. Besides being service to oneself, withdrawal and return, loving oneself, nourishing oneself, physically, emotionally, mentally, but to be of service. Can I be, as Rumi says, can I be a lamp, a lifeboat, a ladder to others? And what are some criteria for service, righteous deed, charity? The Quran says there are 4. One is give freely of what you love. That's real giving. Give freely of what you love. By the way, this is in every tradition. Give freely of what you love, your time, your resources. I see brothers and sisters here, some of them, my God, you give so freely of your time, of your resources. I mean, I'm really grateful for that. So give freely of what you love. That's real giving. Number 2 is give to those who ask and those who cannot ask and don't ask. Number 3, the Quran says, only if possible, give quietly, without any show. This will atone for some of your wrongdoings. The 4th one, most important in every tradition, is in your giving, give without attachment to the prizes or prestige or honor it brings you. That's the real giving. Without any attachment to the prize, the prestige, the honor it brings you. Give it because you're giving it for the sake of Allah or whatever you believe in, sake of goodness. I love the words of the Prophet Muhammad, who said, do good deeds according to your capacity. God never tires of giving rewards unless you tire of doing good deeds. The good deeds most loved by God are the ones that are done regularly, no matter how small they are. The good deeds most loved by God are the ones that are done regularly, no matter how small they are. Do good deeds matter? Another beautiful metaphor by, I think it's Rumi, who says, Brother Jamal, when you die, on the, he calls it Day of Liberation, you will have to leave your wealth and titles at your palace. You say you have wonderful friends, wonderful family, but they can accompany you only up to the gravesite. What takes you beyond the gravesite is what? Your record of righteous deeds. Right? The Quran mentions righteous deeds, I don't know how many times, again and again and again and again and again. So what are some good deeds you could be doing, no matter how small they are? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yes. Good deeds for you and for others. Okay, another one is the spiritual warrior always wants to build community. The warrior is not a real warrior unless everybody else is also a warrior with him or her, collectively. A wall standing alone is useless. Add to it other walls, you can support a roof, even a granary. Only when ink joins with a pen can the blank paper say something. Community. What is the criteria for community? Yes, collaboration. So number one is, who is here in your life with whom you have a kinship of spirit for real community, authentic community? There is love. Number two, there is trust. I'm summarizing what is in every religion. There is love or kinship of spirit. There is trust, because without trust, you cannot be vulnerable. And without vulnerability, it's not real community. And the third one is love of truth and living the truth. Again, in every religion you have that. See, the Buddha was asked by his cousin, who was also his secretary. His name was Ananda. Ananda once said, Lord Buddha, it seems that right community is important for one's enlightenment. And the Buddha raised his voice. Ananda, you're wrong, wrong, wrong. Not important, it is critical, essential to have community. Right community. Love, trust. So they asked him, so tell us more about right community. And his famous words are, find friends who love the truth. Find friends who love the truth. Okay, I'm coming to a very important point right now. The authentic spiritual warrior is someone who goes outside his tribal affiliations to create peace with the other tribe, with my adversary, who doesn't agree with me in my thinking, in my politics. Very hard, very hard. But that's the real, authentic spiritual warrior, to be engaged in peace, reconciliation, forgiveness. So many times we mentioned this. Nelson Mandela, as he emerged from prison, he said, I forgive, because if I don't forgive, I would still be in prison. As he was coming out of prison. Or the Prophet Muhammad, when he was victorious, this man named Washi came up to him and said, oh, Muhammad, I have killed your favorite uncle. Please forgive me. And immediately the Prophet Muhammad said, I forgive you, but don't come in my presence for at least 1 year. Why did he say that? Because he had to also heal his wound. So when you forgive, it's critical you heal the wound within you. It's wonderful to forgive. If you don't heal the wound within you, as the Buddha says, it's like whitewashing a burning house. So who is it I need to make peace with in my life? Only you decide. Don't let somebody impose that on you. In my life, who do I need to reconcile with, make peace with? That's a real spiritual warrior. Connect with. That is why, in Christianity you have that wonderful saying, which not understood always, love your enemy. Or in the Quran there's a verse that says, repel evil with something which is better, so that your enemy becomes your intimate bosom friend. It's a Quranic injunction. Make your enemy an intimate bosom friend. Okay, last point, you'll be happy to know, is the spiritual warrior is really possessed of creativity. You might call it divine feminine energy. What that book that we're reading calls understanding and compassion. You see, in the Islamic spirituality, hikmah is the word for wisdom, higher understanding. It's always feminine. And compassion is also always feminine in Islamic spirituality, because it connects to the womb, Rahman and Rahim. So I'm looking at time. I have many stories in mind. I'll just tell you one story about the creative feminine energy, a true story, which I write about several times. I've written about that. Story of a judge in Indonesia who was presiding over these people in court, and there was one case where I think she was 80 years old or 70 years old grandmother. She was accused of stealing, I think, tapioca. Is that tapioca from an orchard? That's a very big crime in our part of the world, you see, because if you pluck the fruit from a tree, you can, at nighttime you can do it. So there's no safeguard. So if you pluck that from a tree, if you get caught, it's a big crime. Unless there's a heavy storm and they all fall on the ground, everybody rushes to pick it up. You see, my family, we own a lot of mango orchards. And nobody dares touch the mango. But when there's a storm, hundreds of people rush. Because it's lawful to pick up the fruit. Anyhow, so this grandmother was accused of stealing tapioca from this estate. That's a pretty heavy crime. It had not fallen to the ground. And the manager and the owner, they refused to take the case back because she was a very poor woman. So the judge said, so why did you do it? You look like an honest person. She said, I have a son who has become disabled. I'm so poor. He's not able to work. And I have no money no insurance, no money. He's just suffering. And his wife is ill with something, and I have no money to offer her again medical treatment for her. I have to take care of them and the grandchildren are starving. That's why I stole this tapioca, for the grandchildren's sake. The manager said, no, that's the law. And the judge said, you're right. It's the law. Can you pay this amount of money? It was a huge amount of money. She said, no, I can't. If you can't, you have to go for 6 months or a year to jail. And he gave that sentence. Before he gave the sentence, he just stopped and said, he looked all around him and said, let me tell you something. I'm going to fine each one of you, because each one of you is responsible for the circumstances that led to this poor old grandmother to steal tapioca for her grandchildren. I'm going to fine each one of you a certain amount of money. And everybody readily gave that money, you see. And that covered her fine and gave her extra money. That was a very creative solution to the problem. And there's so many writings about it. Wonderful empathy, wonderful divine feminine energy, deep understanding, so much of compassion. Accolades for this judge who gave this. Beg pardon?
That would be called restorative justice in our time.
Yeah, that's right. That would be wonderful restorative justice. So, okay, with that, my friends, since I have not kept my word, I've overdone it. I will shorten my meditation. Just close your eyes for a few minutes, just for a few minutes. Very brief meditation. And just be with your breath. This is what, by the way, the Buddhists insist again and again. This by itself is a complete practice to overcome suffering, sadness, difficult situations. Bring yourself to the breath and just be present with the breath. And truly, the Sufis would say, Allah is the breath within the breath. Can I really connect to the breath within the breath? Gently. And now let go of this, eyes still closed. Focus on your heart and listen to this revelation that came to the Prophet Muhammad in a dream, where God or Spirit says, Beloved one, I cannot be contained in the space of the earth. I cannot be contained in the space of the heavens, but I can be contained in the space of the pure, loving heart. Divine heart is inside human heart. Space of the heart is infinite, boundless. Focus on the heart and tell the heart with feeling, I love you, or you are loved. Again and again. This has tremendous benefits. Please try it. I love you. You are loved. With feeling. I love you. You are loved. And now let go of this. And this time, again, focus on the boundless space inside the heart. And through intention, pour out light and love from the heart in an outward, expansive direction. Pouring out light and love from the heart through intention. And by the way, that love deep inside of us, that love, that healing, the transformation inside of us is eternal. It's a wellspring of eternity. You can never exhaust that. In fact, the mystics say the more light and love you pour out, the more light and love you become filled up with. It's a law, ancient, inexhaustible. Pouring out light, pouring out love. And please know you can do this in meditation and also in your waking hours. This is my most favorite practice. Telling the heart, I love you, you are loved, and then pouring out light and love as often as I can in meditation, also in my waking hours. Okay, bringing this to a halt. And here's the good news, that's the end of it. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. One more time. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. And you'll be delighted. It's music by Isla Ross now. Let's go like this again to our sister Ayla. Oh my God. And sister Ayla, how long have you been with us at ICS?
2005.
2005?
2005.
That's 21 years.
I know.
You know what I was looking at her. She hasn't aged one tiny bit. You know? I think it's the music that she plays.
The chanting.
So, Brother Jamal, I'm telling myself, keep on whistling. Yes. I might not look younger, but I'll probably live a long life. Yeah. Keep on whistling. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Brother Jamal and Isla, for this beautiful service. Thank you all for being here and enjoying it. And thank you for people in cyberspace for enjoying it from there. And this is the time when we ask each other to contribute to the community. So many people contribute through their many, many hours of service and beautiful volunteering around the grounds and in the building. And I noticed that we haven't filled the candles with oil, so one has burnout. It's not because we don't have oil, but it is true that we appreciate all the help that is given and all the money that it takes to pay for the services and the supplies that we need to keep our house running in good order. And we do appreciate those online who can give through the website and the PayPal and the online giving there. And there's also a QR code in your program if you don't carry cash around. So many people are not carrying cash around. But we do appreciate whatever form of giving that you are able to give. And I remember what my teacher told me many, many years ago: you never lose anything when you give. And I have to say, I swear on a stack of whatever holy book you want to swear on, this has always been true in my life. I have never lost anything when I decided to give, even when I thought, I don't know if I really have money to give this time, but I have never regretted giving anything. And it always astounds me, because I think, well, okay, it must be true. Anyway, I will bless, yes. There's a beautiful verse, you can hold it for me, a beautiful verse in the Quran that came to my heart as I was listening to you, Jamal. And this is from, I think, chapter 65 in the Quran. I'll have a rendition in English. For the one who, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, in the name of God, the infinitely compassionate and most merciful. For the one who remains conscious of God, God always prepares a way of emergence. And God provides for him or her in ways that he or she could never imagine. And for the one who places his or her trust in God, sufficient is God for him or her. For truly, God will always accomplish his or her purpose. Amen.
Okay, my friend, this will multiply.
And we also have so many upcoming gatherings that are happening every day, every evening, every afternoon in our community. And after this service, we have a potluck lunch. Food has appeared downstairs. I just feel it in my bones. And I know that we will enjoy each other's company, coffee, tea, snacks, food. I don't know if there's any hot food today, but I bet there might be a little bit down there. We'll see. And I know there is much love and kindness. So please join us downstairs for whatever community and whatever food we find there, and I'm sure we will. And I also want to mention that next week, for our service next week is what is next week? Oh, fourth Sunday. And we have our congregant, Steve Kramer, will be offering his a continuation of his spiritual journey. He presented us in the fall to us on a fourth Sunday, and people asked him to come back to complete his work. We were working on what were called prayer sticks. And I know that I was there that Sunday, and I put my prayer stick that I was working on, I put it on my altar at home. If you have your prayer stick or you were working on one, bring it back. And if you weren't there and you didn't do that particular activity, that's okay. He'll have some more for us to share and talk about and make. It's one of the practices that he was teaching us that day. And he also has music to share and many other traditions from the Native American tradition where he has studied deeply. And so we welcome Steve Kramer next week for our fourth Sunday offering. And we also, of course, we meet every Sunday at 10 a.m. And we have after the first Sunday of April is Easter Sunday, right? And the first Sunday of April will be our guest presenter, which is oh gosh, I just forgot her name. From Chris, help me, from Gaia's Temple. Judith Laxer, and she's going to be doing a lovely service about Easter from her tradition and the spring life from her tradition. So keep coming back, because we love to have people celebrate with us the interfaith experience that we have created here. And also after the first Sunday of each month, we have our guiding council meeting. We have a meditation group that meets here on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. We have our Red Cedar Circle, which meets on Wednesday on Zoom. We have so many different book groups and study groups, and we have people who offer Zikr. There's a Thursday evening Zikr once a month. There's a Monday evening Zikr every Monday. You need to check the website to see what day and time works for you, whether you are going to be here in person. Many of the activities are now in person. Some are on Zoom, and some are hybrid, both. And some happen once a month, some happen every week. So don't be confounded by that. Go ahead to the website and check it out. And Chiaki keeps it up to date very well, and you can find out there exactly what speaks to you in your life right now as you seek to become a spiritual warrior and also get your rest and relaxation in between. And Isla, when is your next music night? Fourth Friday of every month. That must be coming up. Yes. That's this coming Friday. 27th, the fourth Friday at 7 p.m., 7 o'clock, in person. And it's a wonderful, I come here frequently for my Friday relaxation. It's a beautiful practice. And it's uplifting, it's relaxing, it's music, it's movement, you can lie and rest. I've been known to do that. And it's you can meditate, yeah. Levitate, well, the professionals do that. Anyway, let's enjoy whatever speaks to us, and we're going to say goodbye to our folks at home after this moment. And Jamal, you're going to ring the bell for us.
Yeah, before that, just to ask if anybody has anything to say. Yeah, please.
Today is the 20th anniversary of my mother's passing, my mother Oma Margarete Teuben,